morning, everyone, and welcome to another Lunch and Learn webinar with WhyMaker. We are so excited to have you here with us today. My name is Alejandra, and I'll be your host. Today, we are thrilled to spotlight one of our innovative partners, Play Lü. And they are an interactive educational technology that transform learning spaces into dynamic, play-based environments where students can move, engage, and learn collaboratively. Play Lü uses immersive projections, interactive technology, and gamified activities to support whole child development. It brings together movement, social learning, STEM connection, and classroom curriculum into experiences that motivate students physically and intellectually. We are honored to be joined by Sarah from Play Lü. Thank you so much for being here today, and we're excited to learn more about how Play Lü supports educators, fosters engagements, and helps students connect with learning in new and exciting ways. Quick note, before we begin, we will have time for a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go. Now, without further ado, Sarah, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be doing this webinar today. And thank you to everyone that's joined us today and for the ones that will be watching this later on. In this webinar, my main goal is really to explore a simple idea, and that's how movement drives engagement and engagement drives learning. The question isn't whether students should move more, because we know they should move more, but it's more how we can design learning environments where movement fosters focus, achievement, and motivation. So in about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to show you this through a series of small activities from the Lü system. And I feel like that's really going to kind of make everything click between what I'm talking about engagement and how Lü actually helps to achieve that goal. Perfect. Let me just switch to the next slide. Sorry about that. There we are. Okay, perfect. So according to the CDC, only 24% of children aged 6 to 17 meet the recommended daily activity of 60 minutes of physical activity, sorry. At the same time, we know that students spend an average of 7 hours in school per day. So that means that schools aren't just a place for learning, they're also a great environment that has the power to influence movement and engagement. If movement supports learning, then when students are not moving enough, then we have an opportunity in schools. The CDC report also shows that physical activity improves attention, behavior, and academic performance. So knowing that, we should really try and foster these environments and bring more movement so that we can help students achieve even better and even further in their education. What's important is we can't see movement as a break in learning. We have to see it as a way to enhance the learning and help include as many students as possible. Because when students move, they engage, and when they engage, they learn. That's really the main thing I want us to remember today. True engagement includes 4 dimensions. That's how we define it here at Lü. So we need to go get a physical dimension, a cognitive dimension, a social one, and an emotional one. So what this actually means in students, physical engagement, students are moving. Cognitive engagement, students are thinking. Emotional engagement, students care. And social engagement, students collaborate. When all 4 are activated, learning becomes powerful. Movement is one of the fastest ways to achieve all 4 at once. And that's kind of where Lü ties into all of this. Our mission here at Lü is to become an ally to educators, helping them create a magical experience that not only has an impact on physical activity, but also makes it more inclusive for every child and helps them with the cross-curricular realm as well. Lü is an interactive playground that has over 50 apps that are all designed on the school curriculum. So it focuses on development and collaborative play, but it's not only for PE, it's also for the whole cross-curricular realm. So you can do math, you can do science, language, geography, you name it. You can basically do it all. Currently, it's being used in 3,000 institutions across more than 30 countries in the world. But I want to say probably 80% of our units are in the United States. So we're quite familiar with the market and we've been growing more and more every day. As I mentioned, while it is powerful in PE, it's the main use we see it. It's typically set up in gyms or in multi-purpose rooms. It doesn't just stop there. The platform supports physical activity and cross-curricular. So that means movement can support math, language, science, social studies, as I mentioned before. With that, we're not just seeing movement as a subject, movement is becoming a strategy. And that's something that's important to kind of keep in mind when we evaluate engagement. I feel like what we should ask ourselves is, are all students participating? Are reluctant learners becoming more involved? Is the movement reinforcing academic content rather than interrupting it? If the answer is yes, then we're not just giving out lessons, we're transforming these learning environments into a space that's more active and more inclusive. So now let's jump into a demo of the Lü system. I will just unblur my background so everyone can see. There we go. Perfect. So right behind me, you are going to see the Lü system. I will grab my remote and a ball and we'll jump into the demo. So one thing I want to mention is typically this would be in a gym setting or a multi-purpose room. Today, I'm in an office, so it's in one of our repurposed room in the office, but it'll still give you an idea of what the system is able to achieve and what you can get from it. So today I want to show you six main apps in all of our different categories, sorry. So in the Lü system, as you can see behind me, we've divided all of our 50 apps into some subcategories. So you'll be able to find physical activity, education, utilities. So the utilities apps is really going to be to help the PE or the teacher kind of help handle the classroom. So we can find a scoreboard, the beep test, for example, just a lighting. So if you want to create like an ambience in the gym, you can do routines, you can do a vote. It's really just there to give a few more tools to the teacher to help handle the classroom. We also have a health and wellness section, and then we've got an arcade section, which is great for after schools programs or community events or community nights, for example. So today I want to start with Dojo, which is one of our popular apps. This one is great for a warm-up. I always recommend starting a class with this app right here. You can create your own content or you can play our default content. For the sake of this short demo, I'll choose our pre-made content and I'll choose the warm-up that I'll set for 2 minutes. And I will put 6 teams and we'll put it at an easy level. So typically, this, perfect. So we would have 6 teams all lined up in front of a card. And then the first student in line would run up and go touch the wall. And then they would have their exercises. So let's say I'm in team 5, so I have the big arm circles in front. Then I'll do the numbers of reps I'm supposed to do. And once I'm done, I go and tap it and I move to the next exercise. This lasts as long as you set it. So in this case, I had set it for 2 minutes. So every student would do it for 2 minutes, and then we would move on to the next activity. You can set this up as long as you want or as short as you want. So this is really a great way to get students engaged at the start of the class, get them activated, moving, and ready to move on with the rest of the class. The next app I would like to show you that is great for the sorry, just having a little issue with my remote here. Hmm. Oh, there we are. Perfect. Sorry about that. The next app I want to show you that's great to move on in the class is called Mood. So this is one of our health and wellness app. This one is really great to let students tune into their emotions and really just figure out how they're feeling before they start the class. So right here, Mood will choose to go up with the hands. You'll see behind me, there are 6 emotions that show up. So typically we'll see a teacher put this at the start of the class just to get a better idea of how students are feeling. So let's say I'm in 3rd grade. I just had a English test and I feel like it really didn't go well. So maybe I'm sad or maybe I'm angry. So I'll go up and touch the emotion I'm feeling um, during the class. And so I'll just put a little different one so we can see how it shows up for teacher afterwards. So once every student has gone up to the wall, touched the emotion they associate with, the teacher is going to be able to have the results and the details of them. So right now, I would know that the class is maybe feeling neutral and sad. So if I had a super high energy class planned, maybe I'll reevaluate it and do something a bit more mellow, or maybe instead we'll start off with some yoga or some meditation and move on to something better afterwards once everyone has just kind of calmed down and kind of gotten rid of that sadness or that frustration. So this is a great app just to let students tune into their emotions and really take the time to figure out how they're feeling today. This can really be interesting to use it at the end of the class as well when you started your class with it, just to see how the mood has improved throughout your lesson. The next application I want to show you is sports. So sports is a very popular one. There are different sports you can use with it. You can do basketball, you can do soccer, you can do football, handball, or volleyball. For today, I'll show you basketball, and we'll use the split screen so we could have 2 teams at once. This is really an app that's great for different stations throughout the gym. So you're really maximizing the space you have. So let's say you're doing a class on basketball in the case of a PE class. Then we are maybe going to have a dribbling station. Maybe we'll have a pass station. And then this one is going to be the scoring station. So I will set it for 10 minutes, and then we'll choose goals and targets. And then I want a large goal. And so we would be able to have 2 teams at once go up to the screen. Now, once again, I want to reiterate, I'm in an office, so the screen is much smaller than it would be in a gym. The screen being the wall that's being projected on. So typically it would be much higher. For me, it's going to be super easy today to score. I'll be able to just throw it in and then great station work. You might not be hearing this because I think I have noise cancellation in my headphones, but there is some sound as if I was in a stadium. I'm getting people are clapping, people are shouting. So it's a really great ambience to be playing basketball in. So this is an app that is honestly truly appreciated. Students love it. It's also great since we have access to 5 different sports, so you can really use it in a range of your activities in your PE class. Now, let's move on to something a bit more cross-curricular. I'm going to show you my personal favorite, which is Newton. When I was in primary and high school, I was a math geek, and this is really just one of my favorite apps. This one is customizable as well. So let's say um, fourth grade is working on the multiples of 7, then I could decide to just customize this content so it's only multiples of 7. But for today, I'll play default content. Oops, I actually chose a different content. Okay, here, the default content, we'll set it for 45 seconds, and then we'll just do additions for today, and it'll start. This is always a competition game mode. So typically we'll have 2 teams that are playing against each other. Now the goal is to reach as many points as we can in the dedicated time period. So 5 plus 9, that would be 14. So I would aim to number 14. 3 plus 11 happens to be 14 again. So we'll aim towards 14, then 10, then 13, and then we'd go on and on and on until we reach the dedicated period of time or the dedicated amount of points that we wanted to reach. And so this is really an app that's fun. It can be collaborative if you want your teams to work together to find the answer, and can also be a bit more of a competition mode if you have students that really thrive off of competition. So it's one that's really appreciated. It can fit to different levels since you can customize the content. So if you're working with maybe 6th graders, you definitely want it to be harder than if you're working with 1st graders or 3rd graders. So you'll be able to customize that content and really make sure that it fits the audience that's going to play it. The next app I want to show you is MindWord. Now, this one is great for literacy and vocabulary. How we see it being used, the pre-made content is fairly, I want to say, childish. So great for maybe 2nd graders and less. But where we see a lot of cross collaboration is, for example, a Spanish teacher uploading the vocabulary list of the week and importing it into the system so that the PE teacher in the PE class will be able to use it, and the students are going to be able to revise what they're seeing in class, but in an active setting. For today, we'll just choose our English animals, and we'll choose the normal. So the minors are pulling up an image, and then we can see a duck. So then I'm going to have to aim to spell out the word duck. So right there. Whoops, my ball is going away. So students would spell the word until, well, aim at each letter until the word is fully spelled, and then a new image is going to be brought up. So this is great for younger children, or if we really customize it with language classes, great as well, just to revise the vocabulary. And this is a great game for collaboration. So you want all students working together. Some are going to be on rebound catching the balls. Some are going to be actively throwing. They're all going to be helping each other out. So it's really a great environment that we're fostering. Perfect. The next app I want to show you, which I really like as well and is customizable too, is called Whack. For today, we are gonna play the default content, and then this is gonna be a game that's really good on just working on our motor skills, so hand-eye coordination, but it's really good for logic as well. Today, I'm gonna choose the mathematical calculations. So we'll go with 45 seconds, we'll go with normal. and then it'll start off. Once again, competition mode for this game. So this particular equation, we need to choose equations that equal 6. So 7 minus 1, that's 6. Now I missed it. I wasn't fast enough. There it is again. Perfect. Now we want something that is smaller than 9. So 7 minus 5, that's smaller than 9. 11 minus 5, smaller than 9. So great way to have students thinking and trying to solve these equations with a limited time amount, but in a competition mode. And once again, there's some different lighting. If you can see, it's kind of like purple now. Now it's kind of red. Um, it's a great ambiance. Students always love it. Perfect. So I only showed you 3 of our cross-curricular apps, but it really gives you an idea of what you're able to do. Since earlier, I've been mentioning some customizable content. So to give you actionable numbers, 12 out of our 50 apps are customizable. So that means that you'll be able to put in your own content through our website online, which is called the Lü Community, that I'll show you just a bit later on. And once you've uploaded that content in the Lü community, it's linked to your system and you're able to access it when you're playing with the Lü system. So really great way to tailor the content to your different grades and to your different classes. Now, the next thing I want to show you is going to be the health and wellness section. And this is going to be the last app that I'll show you for today. It's called Gaia. This is a great way to end a class. Is our meditation app. We have plenty of different types of meditation. We have mindful breathing. We've got the Jacobson method. We've got tapping. So you can really choose according to what you feel. For today, I'll go with my personal favorite, which is the mindful breathing, our jellyfish edition. And we'll set it for 2 minutes. And for this particular one, I will take out my headphones so you can hear. Should hearing it. So now you should be hearing it a little bit, I assume. I'll pull the volume up. There we go. So we can see the jellyfish moving up and moving down.
Yeah, the volume is really low, so it's very hard to hear it, but we can see it.
Sorry, I'll put my headphones back in so
Yeah,
you can hear me. Sorry about that.
it's
So
okay.
what I was saying is it just creates such a great ambiance for students to just be calm and kind of recenter themselves before they move on to their next class. So I always recommend this to end the classroom. Great way. We've got plenty of different techniques, so it really includes everyone, and you can definitely find your personal favorite one. But this jellyfish one definitely is one of mine. So this was a very quick overview of Lü, but my goal today wasn't to put you in an hour-long demo. It was really just to give you an idea of what the Lü system looks like, what it's able to do, what you would potentially be able to do with it. Um, Last few things I want to mention, just so we can kind of tie back the engagement into this. I want us to kind of think back to the activities I showed you and kind of see how engagement fits into them. So in my opinion, and I mean, I'm clearly biased because I work here at Lü, but in if we go back to what engagement means for Lü, we have our four pillars. So physical, students throughout all of the apps that I showed you are moving. Cognitive, we're solving problems in real time. Social, we're collaborating and supporting each other. Emotional, we're feeling included, motivated, and curious. So it really brings out all of these four pillars that are super important to engagement and foster a greater environment for learning. Something a teacher told me a few weeks ago, and it really resonated with me. They said students don't disengage because they don't care. They disengage when learning doesn't activate them. So that's really what we're trying to do. Movement activates the body, activation increases focus, and focus increases learning. So when students move, they engage, and when they engage, they learn. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. I would love to answer any of them.
Yeah, well, Sarah, thank you so much for that energizing presentation. It is incredible to see Lou in action, like the fact that you gave us an idea of what the projector can look like. And I also want to make it very clear for all the teachers who are watching this, this can be in either a gym or a multi-purpose class space or a classroom because of the two modes that you have it, right? The move, play,
Yes,
and then the one that is on the ceiling.
correct.
But yeah, we do have one question from one of our teachers. He's saying, how does it sense the students touching the wall? That's a really good question.
Yeah, great question. So actually, in our system, they all have three main components. We have the projector and lighting module. So that one has the projector, the sound system, and the lighting. We also have a complete Windows 11 computer, so you can really use it as a full AV system. And the interesting part that senses the students touching the wall is our motion detection camera. So it actually tracks the shadows on the wall, and that's how we achieve the interactivity.
Awesome. So really like high-tech motion sensors, I imagine. We have
Exactly.
another great question from one of our teachers. He is saying, how does Lou ensure that physical activity does not dominate or interfere with the cognitive construction of learning? This is very important. And it is a way to link cognitive content with physical activity, or are they independent?
That's a great question. There is definitely a way to link both of them. I would say if you really want to make sure that students aren't speeding through some equations, for example, or a specific problem, then we want to make sure that we leave them enough time per question. So with our customization, you're going to be able to make sure that we're not letting the physical activity side dominate on the cognitive learning. So that's where the personalization and the customization are really going to go with your goal here.
Yeah, another very just going along the lines of not letting the physical aspect of it dominate. A follow-up question would be, how does Lou engage students with varied learning styles, especially those who struggle either in traditional, physical movement or disabilities, or some kids that are very athletic, for example?
Yeah, great question. So I'll answer in two times. We have seen great case studies of students with either physical or intellectual disabilities using the Lou system. If ever you do need a reference and some ideas on how to use this specifically for these students, I would be more than happy to introduce you to one of our ambassadors here at Lü that use them in, well, that uses the Lü system in a special ed school. But for example, for students in wheelchairs, we've seen them use a pool noodle to interact with the wall. So it's a great way to have them included in this and still being somewhat active. Um,
That is
for
wonderful.
Yeah, it's my first time seeing that. I was honestly so impressed. And this specific ambassador of ours, every time we chat with him, it's just he is a wealth of knowledge and of creativity. It's really fantastic. In terms of for students with a high level of energy and need for physical activity, it's this is really a great tool. And I'm thinking about maybe like students with ADHD or something like that. My sister has ADHD. She was always the student to just be jumping around in class and needed to take breaks to go run a lap or something like that. Um, a system like this where she could have revised what she was seeing in class in an active setting would have made such a difference for her. And I think that's really where the the beauty of the Lü system is because we're able to kind of include so many students. For example, students that typically are maybe a bit more reluctant in PE. They don't really like moving all that much. But when we add some content like maybe math or vocabulary or science, then oh, that's interesting. I want to try this game. So it's really a great way to include them, but also students that really need to move and they need to be active. With the Lou system, they'll always be moving around.
It's just so wonderful how versatile it is and adaptable to every need for any kid. I have one more question. I like to ask this personally to all of our vendors who we host, because it is what we do this, the reason why we do this. And the question is, what feedback have you received working in Lou from teachers, students, or even parents, and how has it impacted the students, the collaboration, or even their physical activity?
Um, the main feedback I always receive is how cool it is to tie technology into learning and movement. The teachers always saying how intuitive this is and how easy it is to use and how it includes everyone. And I feel like this is really our way of seeing at Lou. We really want students to be active. We want them to be included. We want them to feel like they're a part of something. And I feel like with the Lou system, they're definitely able to achieve that. So it's always great to hear when students and teachers let us know that that's how they feel as well.
Yeah, that's always the best feeling to knowing you're making a difference.
Hmm.
All right. Well, this has been such a fantastic discussion. A huge thank you to everyone who participated and asked such great questions. Your interest and your engagement makes these webinars truly matter, and this is why we do this to make a difference in the education system. So yeah, we hope that today's session gave you new ideas for bringing interactive learning and movement-based engagement into your classrooms with Lou. Whether you're focused on physical education, cross-curricular experiences, or social emotional learning, Lu's immersive platform helps make learning joyful and memorable. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Play Lü and how they can support your instructional goals, you can now find their products in the WhyMaker website. We are also available, and this is very important. You can find through BOCES or OGS in New York State, which are purchasing platforms and contracts, so that we encourage you to connect with us to explore how we can help you bring this tool into your school. Now, before we wrap up, don't forget to follow also Play Lü and WhyMaker on social media and for continued inspiration and classroom resources, and subscribe to our newsletter so that you don't miss any Lunch and Learn webinars in the future. Once again, thank you, Sarah, so much. And for all of the amazing audience today for joining us, we truly appreciate your dedication to innovative and engaging learning environments. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone, and we hope to see you next on our Lunch and Learn webinar. Thank you.
Have a good one.